Hello everyone, you're welcome to MyProfessorNote. This is Bhupesh Sharma. So, hey, the video where this is the literary theory revision, right? And I'll make sure that just within 2 or 3 videos I complete the whole literary theory because as we know, we just have 10 to 12 days left now. From 8 July our exams will be start. तो 8 जुलाई से हमारे एग्जाम स्टार्ट हो जाएंगे. मैं मेक श्योर करूंगा कि इजी से इजी वे में आपको मैं ये सारी सीरीज कवर करवा सकूं. ठीक है, तो न्यू क्रिटिसिज्म है, दिस इज फ्रॉम वेयर वी गोइंग टू स्टार्ट. इसके बाद हम फॉर्मलिज्म करेंगे, अपना स्ट्रक्चरलिज्म, पोस्ट स्ट्रक्चरलिज्म एंड ऑल दीज थिंग्स वी विल कवर. सो देखिए, लिटरेरी थ्योरी जब हम लेते हैं इसमें 2 से 3 चीज़ें काम की रहती हैं. ठीक है, इन्हीं 2-3 चीज़ों को हमें अटेंशन पे करना होता है. द मेन थिंग हो गया कि थ्योरी क्या है. फॉर एग्जांपल दिस इज अ लिटरेरी थ्योरी. तो फॉर एग्जांपल ये न्यू क्रिटिसिज्म. अब न्यू क्रिटिसिज्म क्या करता है कि न्यू क्रिटिसिज्म खाली वर्क पे फोकस करता है, वर्क के फॉर्म पे फोकस करता है, आपके लिटरेचर का जो स्ट्रक्चर है उस पे फोकस करता है. ठीक है, इसे मैटर नहीं करता कि राइटर क्या कहना चाहता है, राइटर का क्या बैकग्राउंड है. जैसा कि हमारे इससे पहले एक ट्रेडिशनल जो हमारा क्रिटिसिज्म होता था उसमें हम राइटर के बैकग्राउंड को देखते थे, दैट व्हाट राइटर एक्चुअली वांट्स टू से, लाइक व्हाट इज द इंटेंशन ऑफ द राइटर. बट यहाँ पे इन दोनों चीज़ों को fallacy कहा गया है, like intention fallacy and the effective fallacy. Effective fallacy माने the effect of the writer's work on the reader. On the basis of that we do not interpret the work. हम किसके बेस पे करते हैं? जो वर्क लिखा गया है. इन टर्म्स को हम आगे करेंगे. ठीक है, तो जॉन क्रो रैंसम. इसके बाद जब आपको थ्योरी का पता चल गया कि थ्योरी क्या चीज़ है, फॉर एग्जांपल नाउ यू नो दैट व्हाट न्यू क्रिटिसिज्म इज. इट फोकस ऑन द वर्क रादर देन ऑन द ऑथर्स बैकग्राउंड एंड द इफेक्ट ऑफ द वर्क ऑन द रीडर. उस पे ये फोकस नहीं करता, ये खाली फोकस करता है वर्क के स्ट्रक्चर पे एंड फॉर्म पे. उसके बाद हमारे सामने चीज आती है कि थ्योरिस्ट कौन कौन है. फॉर एग्जांपल है इन दिस केस दिस इज जॉन क्रो रैंसम. सो जॉन क्रो रैंसम इज द फाउंडिंग फादर of the new criticism, right? He's the one who published this manifesto essay on the new criticism in the 1914 and there's a 6 things which he has given which we should exclude, और उन चीज़ों को हम यहाँ पे अभी डिस्कस करेंगे. And he has founded this journal called the Kenyon Review in 1939. ये कुछ चीज़ें हैं जो आपको याद रखनी है from exam perspective. So and that is the reason why I am discussing them here. Besides, he has written another essay which is the criticism, published in the 1937. So he has given these 6 things which we should exclude in the new criticism while interpreting a work from new criticism perspective. Personal impressions को हमें exclude करना है. ठीक है, सिनॉप्सिस एंड पैराफ्रेज को भी, बिकॉज सिनॉप्सिस एंड पैराफ्रेज क्या होता है, एक एब्स्ट्रैक्ट हम निकाल देते हैं, हम उसे एक पर्टिकुलर मीनिंग दे देते हैं कि दैट्स व्हाट दिस वर्क इज अबाउट. तो ये भी हमें एक्सक्लूड करना है. हिस्टोरिकल स्टडीज, दैट क्या हिस्ट्री रही है इस वर्क के पीछे, वो भी हमें एक्सक्लूड करना है. द फोर्थ थिंग इज द लिंग्विस्टिक स्टडीज, के जो ये वर्ड है इसका ये मीनिंग है. ठीक है, तो उन मीनिंग्स के चक्कर में भी हमें नहीं पढ़ना है. दैट्स व्हाट योर न्यू क्रिटिसिज्म सेज, कि जो हम मीनिंग क्रिएट करते हैं कि इस मीनिंग का मतलब मार्वलस. आई हैव हर्ड दिस वर्ड कॉल्ड मार्वलस. इट यूज्ड टू मीन इन द medieval language it means which, right? So I don't think so whether it was a gorgeous or a marvelous, one of the words used to mean which. So right, सो दैट इज़ द रीज़न कि हमें लिंग्विस्टिक स्टडी को भी इसमें एक्सक्लूड करना है, बिकॉज वर्ड के जो मीनिंग होते हैं वो ओवर द टाइम ऑफ पीरियड चेंज होते रहते हैं. अगर हम किसी वर्ड को भी इंटरप्रेट करेंगे और उसकी हम एक लिंग्विस्टिक स्टडीज़ में जाएंगे तो उसके अलग से अलग मीनिंग्स क्रिएट होंगे. पर हमें खाली यहाँ पे वर्क के फॉर्म पे और स्ट्रक्चर पे, उसके लिटरेचर के फॉर्म पे और स्ट्रक्चर पे ही फोकस करना है. मॉरल कंटेंट ये नहीं जानना है कि ये वर्क अच्छा है या बुरा है, उस चीज़ को भी एक्सक्लूड करने के लिए कहा है. द सिक्स्थ थिंग इज द एब्स्ट्रैक्ट ऑफ द वर्क, के वर्क का एक एब्स्ट्रैक्ट हम निकालते हैं कि दैट्स व्हाट इट मीन्स. यू मे फाइंड 2 ऑफ दीज थिंग्स सिमिलर हियर, राइट? सो इन चीज़ों को हमें एब्स्ट्रैक्ट करना है. सम ऑफ यू फाइंड सर यू आर टीचिंग इन हिंदी, बिकॉज मुझे पता है कि जो इंडिया के जो लोग हैं उन्हें बातें अच्छे से समझ हिंदी में ही आती है, और ये रिवीजन का सीरीज है, और मैं नहीं चाहता कि इंग्लिश के चक्कर में आप की ये चीज़ें छूटे. I know you understand English, I can speak English, is not a thing, but what I want is कि एक जो हिंदी में चीज़ें अपनी मातृभाषा में जो सीधे दिमाग पे बैठती हैं, ये चीज़ आप भी मानोगे, राइट? दिस इज अ रिवीजन सीरीज, राइट? बाय एनी हुक और क्रुक हमें ये एग्जाम क्वालिफाई करना है, इसलिए ये रिवीजन सीरीज करी जा रही है. Okay, next one we have I.A. Richards. He is the another theorist here we have. So I.A. Richards was famous for the close readings. You know, this is one of the work of him here, the practical criticism. I'm sorry from jumping from the third one. Okay, but here as I talked about the close reading, so this is the work where he mentioned about his experiment which he did in the Cambridge University on the students. He give them a page, a poem, right, to read without telling them that who have written in and why it was written, without mentioning any of these things. And he was shocked to know that every single person, every single student was coming with their poor interpretation about their work. And here he talks about the 5 things which function in the language. So the first thing is the senses. When a speaker talks, he always try to arouse the senses, always try to touch the senses of the listener, always try to touch the senses of the reader, and he tried to manipulate his feelings, right? Whatever they write, there must be feelings, there must be emotions. Only then you will be able to capture the attention. Then we have tone, and tone refer to your attitude, that sometimes we talk loudly, sometimes we talk slowly, right? It shows your attitude. Then intention, always there is an intention to say something or to write something, and these are the 4 things which he has discussed. Well, the very first work, मीनिंग ऑफ मीनिंग से हम क्या समझते हैं, मैं यहाँ अंडरस्टैंडिंग करने में नहीं जाऊंगा उतना, पर थोड़ी चीज़ें हमें समझनी पड़ेगी कि C.K. ऑगडन ने, I.A. रिचर्ड्स ने, दोनों ने कोलैबोरेशन में ये वर्क लिखा है 1923. डेट्स बहुत ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है. मीनिंग ऑफ मीनिंग मतलब कोई भी वर्ड है उसका एक मीनिंग निकलता है, फिर उस मीनिंग का कुछ और मीनिंग निकलता है. साइंस होते हैं वो हमेशा रेफरेंट होते हैं एक जगह से दूसरी ओर, कि एप्पल मीन्स अ फ्रूट एंड फ्रूट मीन्स दिस, इट हैज दिस कलर. सो मतलब एक वर्ड के हजारों मीनिंग्स की कतार आगे लग जाती है, कि कभी भी जो हम चीज कहते हैं, जो वर्ड हम कहते हैं, उसका जो मीनिंग कुछ निकलता है, उस मीनिंग का अलग भी एक मीनिंग होता है, राइट? So that's what he is discussing here. इसके अलावा principles of literary criticism 1924. Major concern is the 4 topic. What? Experience, value, communication, and poetry and the critique. Poetry and the critique is the one thing here, right? तो ये 4 चीजें हैं, इन्हें समझना है. मीनिंग ऑफ द मीनिंग कब पब्लिश हुआ था? 1923 में हुआ था. प्रिंसिपल्स ऑफ द लिटरेरी क्रिटिसिज्म 1924 में. ही टॉक्स अबाउट द 4 थिंग्स: एक्सपीरियंस, वैल्यू, कम्युनिकेशन, पोइट्री एंड द क्रिटिक. इसे ऐसा मान लो कि कोई पोइट्री एंड क्रिटिक है, उसका अपना एक्सपीरियंस है, वो उसे कम्युनिकेट कर रहा है. व्हाई? टू ऐड द वैल्यू टू द ह्यूमन सोसाइटी. ऑलराइट, लेट्स मूव फर्दर. Now we have Alan Tate. As a new critique, he was a new critique, and he has coined a term called tension, and this is what he's really famous for, and many a time there is a question asked on it. And this video, I'm telling you myself, I'm finding it very, very valuable. So I hope you will also find it. And if you guys, any one of you guys, you want to get direct access to point notes for the your net set gate TGT PGT, we have available. And if you want to go for the separate unit for the literary theory, which I have recently created, it is really, we have design in a systematic order. You have there all the theorists, all their terms, and MCQs, so it gets very easy for you to be ready for the examination. All right. So for that, I have given contacts below in the description box. You can contact me there. But without any further ado, let's talk about his works here. Mr. Pope and Other Poems. Right, so Mr. Poem and Another Poems is one of the book which he has written in the 1928, and in this book he has written this poem, Ode to the Confederate Dead. My hands are a little bit shaky. And Narcissus as a Narcissus is another work which he has written. They have their own meaning, a lot of things going inside these works, but the main important things in these writers, what? Their works and their terms. That is the tension, the term which he has coined, and this is the what he calls a common quality of a good poetry. In poetry we had a tension, and this is one of the term which he has coined, so make sure you remember it. Alan Tate has coined the term called tension, and he has published a work called Mr. Pope and Other Poems, where he published a poem called Ode to the Confederate Dead in 1928. It was published Narcissus as Narcissus. Another one is 1938, Miss Emily and Bibliographer. So make sure you remember all his works, they are important. Let's come to the Cleanth Brooks. the well-wrought earned studies in the structure of poetry. Now, well, so this work he has written this with the Robert Penn Warren, and it has 11 chapters in it. It has 11 chapters. The first chapter has the subject taken from the John Donne's. What's wrong with my writing? John Donne's canonization. Canonization is the name of the poem, right? Because it's been a really long time since I have used this step, so maybe that's the reason I finding this quite difficult to write clearly. Okay, John Donne's canonization is a work which is the subject of his first chapter. Now, 10 first chapter also includes the verses from the Shakespeare's Macbeth to the W.B. Yeats among the school children. All right, his 11th essay, his 11th chapter is the heresy of the paraphrase. Heresy of the paraphrase. All right, then another essay he has written is the language of the paradox. What he say in the language of the paradox, one thing which I missed to tell you, that he always take paradox in the center as a way to interpret the poem, because he finds the language referent, one word to a meaning, and that meaning is referent to the another meaning. So he said that paradox should be the language of the poet. Okay, then we have the formalist critique is another work of him, language of paradox, heresy of the paraphrase, the 11th chapter in the well-wrought urn, which is the published in the 1947. Robert Penn Warren, he founded the literary journal the South Review with the Cleanthbrook. Both of them found this literary journal Southern Review. So make sure you will get questions like this in your exam. Okay, now we have Wimsatt and Beardsley. So these are the two men we have here who have published this work called the Verbal Icon, and this is where they given these two terms. इंटेंशनल फैलेसी कि जब हम कोई भी वर्क इंटरप्रेट करते हैं इन दी न्यू क्रिटिसिज्म, तो इंटेंशन को हम इनटू कंसिडरेशन नहीं लेते कि इंटेंशन क्या थी ऑथर की, नहीं लेते. दैट इज अ फैलेसी, इफेक्टिव फैलेसी, कि ऑथर के वर्क का रीडर पे क्या फ़र्क पड़ा हम उसे भी कंसिडरेशन में नहीं लेते. दिस इज दी अनदर थिंग. ओके, क्योंकि हम उसे पढ़ते हैं इन दी रीडर रिस्पॉन्स थ्योरी में, है ना. ये न्यू क्रिटिसिज्म है हमारा. So another one we have here is the F.R. Lewis. So F.R. Lewis is very famous for his organic community terms. He said that organic community existed in the 17th and 18th century England, and it was destroyed by the mass media and machine, and then it was introduced as the industrial revolution, right? But historians have said that there was no organic community. But this is the term given by F.R. Lewis, so make sure you remember it. Besides this, now here, the Great Tradition is the work where he have discussed about the 8 writers, 4 from the British literature. Oh my God, my beautiful writing. And 4 from the American literature. The 4 from British literature is your Jane Austen, right? Jane Austen. And the second one is your George Eliot, and the third one is your Joseph Conrad. Fourth one is your Charles Dickens, right? So make sure you remember that Jane Austen, George Eliot, your Joseph Conrad, and Charles Dickens. And the fourth from American is the your Herman Melville. Your another one is the Edgar Allan Poe. And the third one is the Henry James, and the fourth one is the person Hawthorne. Yeah, Hawthorne is the fourth one who he has mentioned here in his work. So these are the 8 ones: Jane Austen, George Eliot, Joseph Conrad, Charles Dickens, Hawthorne, Henry James, Edgar Allan Poe, and Herman Melville are the 4 people which he has discussed here. And he found Charles Dickens less competent, so he gave him tribute later when he got to know that who Charles Dickens actually is, because earlier maybe he founded his work not important, but later he found, and then he gave him tribute in his work called the Dickens the Novelist in 1917. Now we have here the William Empson, most important theorist. He was the funniest. He was called by the Jonathan Bate And he was also called the Critique of Genius by the Frank Kermode. He has written a work called The Seven Types of Ambiguity in 1930, and these seven types of ambiguity he find only in the poetry, not in the other form of literature like your drama and all this. And the very first ambiguity is the metaphor, and second one is the where we have two words but we try to give it a one meaning, and the third one is the where we have two ideas but we try to connect them with on the basis of its context, राइट कि दो चीज़ें हैं और हम उन्हें क्या कह रहे हैं कि इसका इसका मतलब एक ही है कि ईश्वर अल्लाह वाहे गुरु चाहे कहो श्री राम, मालिक सबका एक है, अलग अलग है नाम, बट सबके फिलोसफीज अलग हैं, हम उन्हें अलग अलग तरीके से फॉलो करते हैं इन द रियल लाइफ, एंड दैट मेक्स द डिफरेंस. समटाइम क्या होता है दो अलग अलग मीनिंग होते हैं पर हम उन्हें एक बनाने की कोशिश कर देते हैं. समटाइम क्या होता है कि कोई स्टेटमेंट होती है उसका अपना कोई मीनिंग नहीं होता, हम उसे मीनिंग देने की कोशिश करते हैं. ठीक है. So 1 2 3 4 5. The sixth one was that they are two different words and they are opposite to each other. They are completely opposite to each other, but we are trying to make them one. So it was all about the two things here. And one of the things what was about the two thoughts. The author always supposed to represent a one thought, right? Means you are writing something and there must be a context to it, right? But there are the two different thoughts and they are exposing the author's mind the division, right? That there is also the division in the mind of the author, that he himself does not know that what exactly he wants to write. And related to this, there is a one other thing. Sometimes what happens that a poet is writing something, there was something in his mind, a subject, but after writing it he tried to bring out some other ideas out of it. Oh, it also means that maybe so just for to be famous he just come out with the other meaning for that work. Like sometime you write something and then when later you look at it, it gives you different meanings, and then you try to show it in that way also. Maybe it's quite confusing to you, please don't go into that. But here he talked about the seven type of ambiguities, which was published in 1913, and it was in the context of the poetry. The very first one is the metaphor, then about the two meanings, we try to bring them one. There are two words, they are opposite, we try to make them one, and then there are two ideas, we try to take them and make them one on the basis of its context. Sometimes we write something different but we mean it something different. So all these ambiguities are there. Okay. Milton's God here he defend the Milton's attempt to to find the way of the path. There was something in the Paradise Lost. He said a way of God. There was something, a statement in the John Milton's Paradise Lost, to found the way to defend the path of men to God. I'm just forgetting this line, right? So it was about defending the Milton's statement of his Paradise Lost work, and it was also an attack on Christianity, right? So this is the work he has written. And now the some versions of Pastoral, which is published in the 1935. Here in this work, इस वर्क में जो कि 1935 में इन्होंने पब्लिश किया, now we were speaking too much Hindi, and now some versions of pastorals, 1935 this work is published, and here he talk about the politics, here he talk about the psychoanalysis, here he talks about the anthropology. So these are the topics which he has mentioned. Very soon I'll be completing the other videos, other literary theories, and then I'll just collect all these parts and put them together. But till in time, you just keep watching and do not give up. Net will be yours.